From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a severe weather alert.
All right, it's currently 2:38 in the morning. I'm Fred Gossage along with Chase Wilson in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. We have a brand new tornado watch issued for the remainder of our viewing area that wasn't already under the tornado watch. It's been out for hours to the west. Now, since the late evening, we've had Hardin and Tishomingo counties under a tornado watch, but now we have the rest of the area under a tornado watch until 10 a.m. That includes Wayne, Lawrence, Giles, Lewis, Murray, and Marshall counties in Tennessee, and then Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin, Lawrence, Morgan, and Limestone counties in our viewing area in northwest Alabama, tornado watch until 10 a.m. Outside of the viewing area, it also goes as far east as Lincoln County, Tennessee, and Madison County, Alabama. You notice the flashing red polygon down there near Fulton, Mississippi. That is a tornado warning down in Itawamba County, Mississippi. Let's go to Viper. Live Doppler radar here on Lynx 2. And we're going to track the storms that is of primary concern here that's prompted a tornado warning down in these areas. Now, we'll show the storms that are non-severe that are up in the shoals in a moment. But you see the big supercell here to the southeast of Tupelo. You have the large hook here to the north of Amory, Mississippi. It's been moving off to the northeast at 45 miles an hour. Now, I will say up front, the low-level environment for the immediate term is not quite as supportive in northwest Alabama as it has been for hours back in Mississippi. Dew points in Mississippi are already into the mid-60s. They're still in the upper 50s to near 60 over northwest Alabama. So there may be a case where this transitions from more of a large tornado threat that it's had back in Mississippi. There have been multiple large wedge tornadoes with this. It may transition from that to more of a gusty wind, hail, and maybe smaller type tornado. But those are just dangerous enough. However, these established supercells like this, the rotation in the parent rotation is a deep low pressure. And once they actually mature like this, a lot of times they can go into environments for hours longer than they otherwise should. They won't develop and start in an unfavorable environment, but they can last and survive into an unfavorable environment for a long time. So even though dew points aren't as high in northwest Alabama as they are back in Mississippi, we need to watch this one carefully because this one has had a history of those large type tornadoes and major damage and reports of critical injuries back in central Mississippi. Let's take a fan track going 45 miles an hour northeastward here from just ahead of the rotation, and let's give some times of arrival here. Now, Marion County is not in our viewing area. Franklin County is. Let's go ahead and extend this out an hour, and then let's see what the times of arrival look like. We may have to scale that down to 19 miles. Yeah, let's change that to 19 miles. I want to talk about some times of arrival. No, not duration. An hour track, but the mileage, the show range at the bottom needs to be 19. Yes, so we can get those smaller communities in. All right, so for the next hour or so, we're talking about Tremont at 257, Red Bay coming up at 316, and it may be a little south of there with the actual tornado threat itself, but in case it kind of veers a little to the left, Red Bay at 315, Pleasant Site 326, Hackleburg 327, Bell Green 332, Phil Campbell 337, Newsom Springs at 340, and that tells me here getting up toward the Russellville area, just south of there, closer to 340 to 345. If the rotation holds together, that's not a time of arrival for rain or lightning. That's a time of arrival for the potential for rotation. Now, there's not a tornado warning in effect on the Alabama side of the line yet, and I think if one is issued, it's for Marion County first, not Franklin County, and we'll have to see how the rotation holds together. This is a long duration heads up here over the next hour to give you planning time ahead because this has been a long track tornado situation back in the Mississippi. So that's the case there. We have the Mississippi storm we're watching carefully. No warnings in northwest Alabama, but we'll watch it carefully. Non-severe storms up to the north into northwest Alabama. Really loud lightning producers here in the western half of Lauderdale County, the western quarter of Colbert County back into eastern Tishomingo County. Let's go ahead and hit our Cherokee Skycam and see what we can see. Now, we're not going to be able to see too much other than the lightning flashes here. And I think this has turned either west or it may have been moved back northwest here. Let's see what we got. I know after Ben turned it, the fire department turned it again so that they could try to focus it a little more. We're not looking for structures and trying to see too much other than the lightning frequency here, because these storms are not severe. They don't have a severe thunderstorm warning. They don't have a tornado warning on them, just showing you these loud storms. But you see frequent lightning here. Temperature is 66 degrees. Dew points now up to 60. So we are starting to prime the environment a little bit here in far northwest Alabama. The wind is south at 14 miles per hour. We'll go back to the radar, and again, these storms are not severe, but they're catching your attention, and these will continue to lift off to the northeast. They're coming across places like Waterloo, just to the northwest of Cherokee, the Marjoram area, up into Rhodesville and Oakland and Cloverdale and Central Heights. These are going to be lifting up into southern middle Tennessee over probably the next 30 minutes or so, reaching places like Cypress Inn over the next few minutes, moving up toward places like Holly Creek and Fairview and Collinwood, over to Iron City and Loretto. I don't expect this to be severe in the immediate term, but we're under a tornado watch now, so we do have to pay attention to things very carefully. Let's go ahead and hit the DMA button to take a look at the overall area. And outside of those two storms immediately, nothing else immediately going on. Some thunder and lightning and rain up in Hardin County that's not severe. Another storm back west of Ripley, Mississippi. Now that we're in a tornado watch, we'll have to watch these carefully. But again, in our 14 county viewing area, no warnings at this time. We will have to watch to see if that changes, but as of right now, no warnings. I wanted to check, see if there's anything new from NWS chat. Let's go to links 1, because I want to show you this, and this is for later today. This is not for right now. The threat right now, the tornado watch expires at 10 a.m. I actually think it's going to come to a wrap before that, but they're giving wiggle room for the ending time. I think between now and 7 or 8 a.m. is the main time frame for this round 1. Round 2 is the bigger deal this afternoon. Anywhere from noon today all the way to 10 p.m. tonight, there is this high-end tornado outbreak situation. The danger is very real today across the viewing area. The Storm Prediction Center, that I'm not showing their outlook because I think they're going to do another expansion of the high risk here at 8 a.m. when they issue the next outlook, but they did extend the official high risk level 5 out of 5 up to Colbert County, Alabama, Franklin County, Alabama, Lawrence County, Alabama, and Morgan County, Alabama, and I'm very confident it's going to continue to expand north on the next update. They also expanded the level 4 risk up through all of our Tennessee counties, and that's shown here. And I actually need to move the red a little far north because the level 4 risk now goes all the way north through our entire remainder of the viewing area, all the way up to Spring Hill, Tennessee. Whether you're in the purple area on the map or the red area on the map, which I need to take all the way to Spring Hill now, I just didn't do that just yet before this update. There is the potential for long track, violent upper end tornadoes this afternoon and evening in both of those risk color areas. And even all the way up to Nashville and northern Tennessee, there could be a strong tornado or two. In the red and the purple areas on this map across our viewing area, there's the potential for a few EF3, EF4, EF5 type tornadoes this afternoon and this evening between noon and 10 p.m. The big ones that get down on the ground, stay down on the ground for 20, 30, 40 miles or longer. All right, so we're going to be here for a little bit, have a brand new tornado warning for Franklin County, Alabama. Okay. All right. So we need to immediately go back to links 2. Okay, so new tornado warning, also northwestern areas of Marion County, that's just outside of our viewing area, tornado warning as well. But in our viewing area now, a tornado warning till 3:45 for southwestern and central areas of Franklin County and northwest Alabama. This goes almost up to Red Bay. Let's zoom in a little closer and get the smaller communities in Franklin County and tell you who's in the polygon here. Again, we'll click out of that. Sorry. And we're talking about places just south of Red Bay in Halltown. It goes over the Burnout, Old Burleson, Vina, Atwood, the Hodges area, Duketon down to the Nix area, the Glasgow Corner area, Franklin County EMA, and the Belgreen region. It stays off to the west of Isabel. It stays off to the west of Russellville. Tornado warning here for Franklin County, Alabama until 3:45 now. So we got just shy of an hour. And what they're doing, they're giving you plenty of lead time if you're in a mobile home. They're giving you plenty of lead time to get out of a mobile home and head to a sturdy structure. And now that we have a tornado watch in place, if the shelters weren't already opening in these areas, they are opening now, or they have already been opened. So if you live in a mobile home, now's the time. You have plenty of time if you're in Franklin County to go ahead and get out of that mobile home and head to a sturdy structure. Let's hit the tornado safety rules and just talk about what to do. That's really important here since we have a tornado warning now.
Sorry, 1 second.
All right. So if you're in the tornado warning, very simple things to do.
Sorry.
It's early o'clock in the morning. I get it. So if you have a basement, a storm shelter, or a certified safe room, those are the safest places to be. But in almost every tornado situation you will encounter in your life, even when we see the big ones today, this afternoon, in almost every situation, you can survive above ground in almost every case. It's almost never a hopeless situation, and we don't think this is. If you don't have underground shelter, that's okay. Don't panic. Don't think it's hopeless. Go to a small interior room on the lowest floor of a site-built structure, not a mobile home, a site-built structure, something like a small bathroom, a hallway, a closet on the lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You need to protect your head and neck from flying debris. If you have something like a bicycle helmet in-house, kids have football helmets, bike helmets. You guys have construction hard hats, even a metal cooking pot, if nothing else. It's for everybody in the home, not just the kids. Put that on, protect your head and neck from flying debris. And if you're in vehicles, you're in mobile homes in these areas, you have to leave and head for a sturdy, reinforced, site-built structure. And if you're in Franklin County, you have time because the storm is still a good little bit away. It's moving to the northeast about 40 to 45 miles an hour. They've issued a long duration warning to give you time because it's a supercell and it has had a history of large tornadoes. So we'll go back to Viper Live Doppler. And we talked about where the tornado warning is. So let's go back and look at the structure of the storm. And you can see this thing just clearly wrapped up in the reflectivity here. We have the big hook. You have the big ball here, probably not a debris ball, but we'll look at correlation in just a second. Yeah, I'm not seeing debris, but that could wrap up a tornado soon. That's near the Tilden community in Itawamba County that's moving to the northeast at 45 miles an hour. It will be crossing Interstate 22 very close to the Tremont area over the next 10 or 15 minutes or so, then moving into northwestern areas of Marion County near Scottsville, and then coming up into the southwest part of Franklin County. If you're in these areas, you have to go through your tornado safety plan right now. Don't wait. Take the extra lead time that we have to go through your plan. Switch over to storm relative velocity, and you can see that there is a tightening circulation back here near the Tilden area. And again, it's going to be moving off to the northeast at about 45 miles an hour. So let's zoom out a little farther. Let's do a storm track, go back to reflectivity. Let's do a fan storm track from just ahead of that rotation at 45 miles an hour to the northwest. And then let's get us back to where this is an hour track and we have the small town zone here. It'll be a show range of 19. All right. So we have Cademy at, 258, Tremont at 258, Eastman 307, Scottsville 309. Sorry, there's been very little sleep all week and we've been up all night. So the eyes are, you know how it is when you've been up for quite a while here. 310, is at 319, Ivana in Red Bay, Old Burleson at 322, Atwood 322, the Pig Eye community at 324, Hodges at 325, Burnout area at 325, Hackleburg at 331, 333 for Duketon, 333 for the White Oak community, and Nix Mill coming in at 334. And then closer to 335, 336 to 340, likely moving toward the Phil Campbell area. Near or south of the Russellville area will likely be where this will track if it holds together. But we have a time before it gets in, so we'll clear off the track. And again, the storms up in Lauderdale County and Franklin County are not an urgent issue right now. They're not severe. I don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings on them. I don't have any tornado warnings. The only rotation we have, the only warning we have in our viewing area is for this storm and includes Franklin County, Alabama. I'm going to let Chase Wilson track this. He's going to be voicing over the radar here for just a minute, and he'll track the situation as well.
Yeah, so I'm still keeping a very close eye on this behind the scenes with other sources too, and sure enough,
you'll switch over to full screen to do that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Let me set over here. There we go. Little magic there for you, a little behind the scenes magic. But we're taking a look here at what we've got in Northeast Mississippi, and it's just about to cross Interstate 22. Just about. And of course, once we get past that threshold, we're starting to close in a little bit on Franklin County. I'll take a look back at velocity just to highlight that feature, right? We got this feature here. It's a broad mesocyclone at the moment. Doesn't mean it's weak. Just because it's broad does not mean it's weak, right? We're still pretty intense, all things considered, which is not too surprising because Fred mentioned this earlier. We do have a history with this supercell of producing tornadoes, and some of those, if not all of those, have been pretty intense. We've heard reports of injuries back a few hundred miles down in central Mississippi on the other side of Interstate 55. So we do need to take this seriously, even if not right now we're immediately seeing any debris. Now, you see this blue out ahead of it. That's not debris. I know some of you astute observers know what to look for, and that's not it. You want it to be overlapped, right, with the reflectivity and the velocity coupling. We're not seeing that right now. Now, it's an impressive structure, sure, but just not seeing much of that right now. Now, I will say this much. Before this area gets into Franklin County and really into Winston County too, we're seeing some hail out ahead of this, right? You see this large hail indication right here, these purples, these blacks even. That's getting very high into the reflectivity color scale. So even out ahead of this, very loud, very frequent lightning, a lot of positive strikes in that, which are those really loud thunder boomers. We're seeing a lot of heavy hail with that, which shows the intensity of that updraft. So before this feature, this rotation gets over the state line, you'll probably start seeing some hail over in the Vine and Atwood communities. Along Highway 172, even over towards Highway 19. I think that's where you're first going to start seeing those conditions deteriorate, and we're already seeing some light to moderate rainfall here in Franklin County. So again, that's what we've got until 3:45. I do want to step back really quick and take a look up here because I see a lot of people talking about the Northern Shoals Metro across the state line to Collinwood. I know it seems surprising that this is not a severe batch, but that is not severe right now. Just because it's loud does not mean it is worth concerning yourself too much with. So don't think we're ignoring you just because you hear those loud storms. We just got this down here, which actually takes precedent because it does have a warning. So up there towards the state line, headed now into the southern Middle Tennessee portions of the area, that's where we're starting to see some more thunderstorms, but that's not severe. Down here, 3:45, we got this warning in Franklin County. I'll be back there. So
all right, thank you, Chase.
Little TV magic there.
All right, so again, this is still in Itawamba County. It still has to come through Marion County before it gets into Franklin County. We'll see how it holds together with the environment here. But that rotation is about to cross the I-22 area near Tremont. Let's go back to storm relative velocity so I can see what the wind pattern is. And that's a really broad rotation. Keep in mind, we're really close to the radar, so we're not shooting really high up and just guessing with the mid-levels of the storm. We're looking into the low levels, and that's a really broad circulation. I don't see anything that's especially tight. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't tighten up pretty quickly and produce a tornado, but right now I'm not seeing that. But we have to be safe on events like this, and this thing has had a history, and anytime you have a supercell with a history, you have to take them more seriously than you do other storms. So despite not having a really tight low-level rotation here at this time on this radar scan, we're still going ahead and treat this like it has a tornado with it. And again, that's going to be crossing I-22 now, moving up toward the Scottsville area and northwestern areas of Marion County within the next 10 minutes or so, and then moving up here in the southwestern areas of Franklin County. We'll pan back up the radar here. And yeah, get in a little tighter here if you don't mind, please, sir. That's 172 here that runs from Hodges back over to Atwood and Vina. You have the old Burleson area here. You have Burnout that sits on Alabama 24. That's the main 4-lane that runs from Russellville back over to Red Bay. Where the storm, the circulation is going to enter the county is back here to the southwest of Alabama Highway 172, south of the Atwood area, south of Vina, south of the Hodges area, in the southwest corner of the county. And if it holds together on this track, it's going to be coming up here to where places like Glasgow Corner, the Duketon area, Nicks Mill, and then if it holds together, Isabel, Spruce Pine, likely keeping the rotation north of Phil Campbell, but we might have to watch the south side of Russellville. Now, Russellville proper, you're not in the polygon yet. Keep in mind that tornado warnings are not issued for entire counties. They're issued for these geometric shapes, polygons. That narrows where the danger is. If you're in that flashing red area, you're in the tornado warning and you're in danger and you need to seek shelter. If you're in another part of the county that's not in that polygon, you're not included in the tornado warning, and that's why you won't get a notification on an app. Your wireless emergency alerts won't go off. Weather call is not calling you at this time. You need to be in the polygon, otherwise you're not in danger. And that's intentional that it works that way, and it should work that way because you don't need overwarning for storms that are not going to affect you. And that's how that works. But if you're in the warning polygon itself here, in southwestern areas and central areas of Franklin County, you need to be in your safe place. Small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows, and you still have time to get out of mobile homes and head to a local shelter or a 24-hour convenience store or something like that that would be open at this time of the early morning. I know there aren't many things that are open at this time of the morning, but if you need to get out of a mobile home, you need to go to a sturdy shelter, and don't wait on this to the last minute to get there. So we'll zoom out the radar, and I know just a moment ago Chase was talking about the overall area. There are some loud storms lifting up out of Lauderdale County into the southern half of Wayne County. These are not severe. They're just really efficient lightning producers. These will be lifting up in the Lawrence County over the next 15 to 30 minutes in Tennessee. That's clipping southeast Hardin County. There are other lightning producing thunderstorms that are not severe back off into North Mississippi that will likely be moving toward Hardin County and McNairy County over the next 30 minutes to an hour. But the only storm that has a warning, the only storm that's severe, is the storm coming out of Mississippi and heading toward Marion County and Franklin County. And of those two, Franklin County is in the viewing area, and that's why we're here with the tornado warning until 3:45. Chase, if you hear anything from channels, let me know, because my laptop decided it wanted to do a Windows update, even though I told it not to.
I've got an eye on chat over here. Nothing immediately urgent here. They're going to keep that warning going. They're keeping an eye on the trends as well, just like we are.
All right.
So they are going to hold that. Also talking about the potential for flash flooding with these training cells too. That is worth mentioning too. But yeah, besides that, no immediate updates on that front.
All right. So let's go back to storm relative velocity again, and let's see what the rotation looks like. And it's really broad here.
Yeah.
I think what may be happening is the storm is starting to encounter that low-level environment that's not quite as good as what it's had so far. But you don't just react to that immediately on the volume scan that the rotation weakens. You have to wait for several volume scans because these things cycle a lot of times. What that means is that the rotation will spin up, get intense, produce a tornado, choke itself off by rain-cooled air, and weaken. But then just southeast of where the first rotation was, it develops a new rotation and tightens after a few minutes. That tightens, strengthens, and produces another tornado. That can happen a lot with these type of thunderstorms right here. So we can't just immediately cancel a tornado warning the very moment the rotation weakens, because in another minute or two, it could come right back. So that's why you may hear me say that the rotation isn't tight. The rotation's weakened. I may even say that it doesn't look like a tornado is on the ground right now, but that doesn't mean that a tornado won't be on the ground 30 seconds later while I'm still trying to verbalize a sentence. That's why you still need to go through your safety plan. Treat this seriously. If you're in Northwest Marion County and then up in Franklin County in our viewing area, treat this seriously until we can get the warning off the board, until we know the danger from this thunderstorm is over. Again, if you're hearing lightning, if you're hearing thunder, you see the lightning flashes up in Lauderdale County and Wayne County and Lawrence County and Hardin County. Those storms are not severe. You don't have to be taking shelter from them. That's why we're not focusing on them. It's not our job to tell you it's raining outside or it's thundering outside. You already know that. We will check in with you every few minutes to let you know that everything's okay. But I can't focus on that when it doesn't have a warning, because that means that other than you just need to be inside away from the windows that you do for every thunderstorm, it's not life-threatening. You don't need to go to your shelter place, and that's why we're not going to take too much time to focus on them unless they do strengthen and the warning is issued. Just want to make sure you know that we're not ignoring you. We're not neglecting you. I have to focus on something that's life-threatening, and when you have a tornado warning, that's what that is. That broad rotation is over the Tremont area now, and that's going to be coming across Scottsville or just north of there here within the next few minutes, and then Vina and Atwood here on Alabama 172 not long after that. So let's do another storm track just ahead of the rotation, carry it to the northeast at 45 miles an hour or so, and talk about some times of arrival.
I'll go ahead and set the time to, what, about an hour again?
Yeah, and
right.
do the scale down of the, there we go.
So we're at 19 miles. There we go.
All right, Scottsville at 309, Vina at 318, Old Burleson at 321, Atwood 321, Hodges 325, Pig Eye 325, Burnout 325 to 326, Duketon 333, Glasgow Corner 333, White Oak Community 333, the Nicks Mill area 334, 335 for Bell Green, Pleasant Grove, Alabama. Here in Franklin County at 338, Rock Creek, and we're starting to get in the far southern areas of Colbert County if it holds together. Those areas 340, and Spruce Pine, Alabama 341. Again, this may not hold together this whole time, and if it doesn't, that's very fortunate. If that's the case, we can eventually get the tornado warning off the board. We just can't do that now, and I don't want you to let your guard down. I still want you in your safe place until we know that this is a weekend, until we know it's not going to produce a tornado, and we don't know that yet, so we have to still take this seriously. We'll clear off the track. And again, immediately at risk are places like Vina and Atwood and Hodges and Old Burleson, up to the Franklin County EMA location here on 187, the Glasgow Corner area, Bell Green, Russellville, the Highway 43 corridor. You're not in the warning yet. Now, if the rotation holds together or if it strengthens and tightens, they could have to issue a new tornado warning that includes you. But as of now, that's not the case just yet. So we'll hit the DMA, let everybody see the large radar view, because there's intense lightning here in southern Wayne County and southwest Lawrence. Let's focus in on this storm a little tighter.
There you go.
And just show it. Again, this is not severe. It's not tornadic. I need you to understand that. But this is here from Cypress Inn to Collinwood. It's over the Holly Creek and the Fairview areas over to Iron City and St. Joe, lifting quickly up into the Loretto area, headed toward West Point and Pea Ridge, and eventually here over the next little while, headed toward Lawrenceburg and Deerfield and Ovilla, moving into the Waynesboro area now from the south. It's coming across loops. Again, there may be some 30-mile-per-hour winds here. There may be some pea-sized hail. Lightning and heavy rain is the big deal, but I don't see any signs of damaging wind. I don't see any signs of quarter hail or larger, which would be severe size, and I don't see any signs of tornadic rotation at this time. I just wanted you aware that we are watching this storm. We're not ignoring you. We will continue to watch it behind the scenes, so we'll focus on it should it become an issue, but for right now, it's just a regular thunderstorm. So we'll go back to the south. Again, not getting any reports yet that I've seen. Now, this thing has had a long, intense history back deeper into Mississippi, where there's been substantial damage in central Mississippi, but it's not the same character of storm as it was back when it was doing all that in central Mississippi, and it's not in the same environment now that it was in when it was doing that. Now, later today, we're going to have probably one of the most optimal environments for tornadoes you can ask for. That environment just hasn't set up across the area yet. It will as we get into the midday hours in the afternoon and the evening. But still, we were expecting this first round. This is not the first bit of a surprise. We knew there was a tornado threat this morning. We knew there could even be a strong tornado or two from a supercell, and we have a supercell with a rotation, so we'll watch to see what it does, because the dew points are creeping out of the 50s into the lower 60s now in northwest Alabama as these strong southerly and southeasterly winds bring the moisture northward. But for right now, this looks like a broad rotation. We'll go to storm relative velocity and see what things look like. And yeah, that's a really noisy signature. Now again, like we've been talking about, it could tighten up here. And what the National Weather Service is doing, they're watching it for a few scans. They're watching for trends. They're watching to see if it stays broad and messy, or they're watching to see if it tries to tighten back up and tries to produce a tornado. Now, as of right now, I don't see a tight tornadic signature. But again, like we've talked about, that doesn't mean that there may not be one in another minute or so. So if you're in these tornado warning areas, if you haven't already gone to your safe place, you need to do that. If you have basement or storm shelter underground, that's great. That's perfect place to be. But you don't have to be underground to be safe from this. Go to a small interior room, such as a bathroom, a hallway, or a closet, near the center of a site-built structure, not a mobile home, something built onto a foundation on site. On the lowest floor, get as low as you can. If you're on the second story, you go down to the first. Stay away from windows. Cover your head and neck from flying debris. If you're in vehicles, if you're in mobile homes, you have to get out and seek a more substantial shelter. And there are local shelters in Franklin County. You know where they are if you live here. They are open because the tornado watch in place. You can go, and you still have a few more minutes if you do need to seek shelter. Chase, I'm going to let you track this, and I'm going to see what we have here behind the scenes.
Yeah, I was actually just peeking behind the scenes here as well at what the Weather Service was saying about it, and we're already starting to see those conditions deteriorate in Franklin County with the front of this cell, and we're probably seeing some hail with that. I mean, that's a pretty impressive signature. You see these pinks and even some blacks here south of Vina. That's probably a pretty good indication that you're seeing hail, and that's not too surprising because looking at the warning, we got 1.5-inch hail with that as well. So that's kind of the first sign that we're seeing the supercell move in. And I also want to mention that there is something of a bowing segment. The Weather Service mentioned this too, kind of forming out here. And you do see ahead of it a little bit some of those higher winds. In fact, let me go ahead and cue these up a little bit. And you can see we're looking at 1,700 feet. So that's not really that high as far as radar is concerned. And we're seeing 65, near 70 miles an hour, right? So this is kind of an indication of this pushing out. This could be one of many things, right? We could be seeing some RFD surge here, pushing out here, forming a bowing segment. So clearly this is a severe thunderstorm, right? We definitely have those conditions starting to go downhill here in Franklin County. In fact, we actually got a new scan here, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. South of Vina, west of Atwood, south of the 19 corridor. If you're on 19, go ahead and stop. Go inside a sturdy structure. You've got a tornado warning out here. You don't need to be on the road in these conditions. Down here is where we were initially seeing that tornado warning, the signature, right? I should say back further in near Tremont, down there Tilden in northeastern Mississippi, but we're just not seeing that tight signature right now. That doesn't mean it won't come back because this cell has been on kind of manifesting itself for the better part of a few hours now. So it's gone through cycles. It's gone up. It's gone down. It's developed rotation. It's lost rotation. So we don't need to say, there's no rotation here. Don't worry about it, because that doesn't necessarily mean there won't be in 5 minutes, right? That's why we have these rapid scans on the radars now, because these things happen just like that. I'm snapping here. You kind of hear what I'm talking about here. Taking a look here off screen real quick, taking a look, see if we have any reports, and still not getting any reports. I do continue that tornado warning and also mention that hail. Here we go, matter of fact. Let me see if I can get you a little bit of an indication of hail here out ahead of it. And it does kind of show you the indications. I think it would be a better indication down here in Marion County. That's probably about what you would see in the forward sector of this cell in Franklin County as well. So I think that's a better indication of that. You see down here, you see those similar values as you do up here in Vina. Just now heading into Vina, if you have a Vina mailing address, you're probably getting those extremely intense rainfall amounts right now. Better part of 3 inches an hour, and probably some hail. Would not shock me at all if we're seeing some hail. Maybe an inch, inch and a half in diameter. This is just now south of 19 here. It's actually just now heading over Highway 19 where it turns into 172 by Atwood. So we'll keep a very close eye on that, of course. And of course, we were talking about up north. All right. We're not forgetting about you guys up here. We were just talking about this a few minutes ago. It's starting to get a little noisy here in Lawrence County as well. I do want to quickly mention this, that up here in southwestern Lawrence County, Loretto up to Leoma, Highway 43 through Lawrenceburg. In fact, here in the studio, we're already hearing some thunder. Yeah, it's loud. Yeah, it's noisy. Yeah, it sounds like cats and dogs falling outside. But listen, we don't have any warning with this. We could see 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts, maybe some pea-sized hail building up on the grass, but this is not something that is severe. And what that means is it's not got winds greater than 60 miles an hour. It doesn't have rotation in it. In fact, just to assuage your concerns, you can see nothing there, right? So we're not ignoring you up here in Wayne County, Lauderdale County, Lawrence County. By no means. We're keeping an eye on everything here behind the scenes. Me and Fred are in the studio, so we'll let you know if anything happens. Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about a thing. We also have a few more showers and storms popping up here back in northeastern Mississippi as well. Those are also non-severe. Of course, the big boy, if you will, right, headed up into Marion County and Franklin County right now is this one with a tornado warning out until 3:45 a.m. It's currently 3:14 here. You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, and we're keeping a very close eye on this, and still no screaming indications. No screaming indications of rotation. We're going to watch this very carefully, though. We are starting to see that kind of surging out area that they were talking about on velocities, but as of right now, it's still very broad in the sense of rotation, so we'll keep a very close eye on that. Hail as well, 1.5 inches. Yeah, we need to keep a very close eye on that. And all things considered, I think the conditions are really starting to deteriorate there in southwestern Franklin County. This is the time that you want to be in your shelter right now. You're good.
All right.
Welcome
Let's
back.
step
Fred.
back in here. All right. So, again, let's go to storm relative velocity, but I had to step away and take care of some housekeeping things.
There you go.
It's still a broad signature here at the moment. While I'm back, check your private messages, Chase, to update on the housekeeping situation so that you're aware of what's going on. All right, so we have our broad rotation here that we're still watching to see if it tries to tighten up, but there could still be hail and damaging winds. Otherwise, if not, that's going to be coming across the Highway 172 corridor that runs from places like Hackleburg and Pig Eye up through Hodges to Atwood and Vina. That's going to be crossing there probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And then headed toward the 178 corridor out here toward Glasgow Corner and the Duketon area. And if it holds together, headed out here toward the Spruce Pine and Isabel area over the next 20 to 30 minutes. But you guys aren't under the tornado warning polygon just yet. We'll see what they decide to do with this, but as of now, I'm not seeing any tightening rotation with this that would indicate an immediate tornado threat. So we'll see how it goes. But as of right now, no immediate signs for the next probably minute or two at least. But we'll have to watch that notch on the south end. That rotation would be over the Scottsville area. That could tighten up in any moment. So we'll have to watch that. That would be coming up here, especially toward the Atwood area and the Hodges area, probably within the next 10 minutes. So again, if you're in the southern part of Franklin County, Alabama, be in your safe place. Small interior room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. Cover your head and neck from flying debris. Be out of mobile homes. Be out of vehicles. Again, this is the only severe storm we have. We have really loud storms shifting up into southern middle Tennessee. But again, loud does not mean life-threatening. Loud storms don't mean you need to run to the shelter. So I want you to be aware of that. That's why we're not focusing on these storms that are waking you up in southern middle Tennessee. We have to focus on the ones that are a danger to life, and that's the tornado warning storms down here in northwest Alabama. But again, it's a broad rotation. We're just watching it for safety's sake to see if it does try to tighten up. If it doesn't try to tighten up soon, they may consider stepping this down to a severe thunderstorm warning. They're not ready to do that yet, and I think that's the right call. So we're going to watch this a little longer. Tornado warning runs until...
It goes till 3:45. Is this
3:45. Okay.
But I was actually just going to say what they were talking about in the Weather Service chat. National Weather Service in Huntsville has kind of acknowledged what we were talking about as far as how the broad rotation is concerned, and they're collaborating with the adjacent office to issue a severe and canceling the tornado warning.
Okay.
So that's going to be coming here in just a few minutes.
All right.
And they're also talking about the flood threat as well. But as far as the warning is concerned, and matter of fact, you can actually see they're just south at severe, so they're collaborating with that office, and that's what they're going to replace this tornado warning with here in just a few minutes.
Okay. So here in just a few minutes, instead of the tornado warning being in place, as Chase said, we are going to step down to a severe thunderstorm warning for gusty straight line winds and hail up to quarter size. That's in the process of happening now. They've done that for Marion County. They're about to do that for Franklin County, which means here in the next few minutes, when they do that, we will no longer have a county in the viewing area under tornado warning. So once that happens, we'll give one final storm track here, take a wide view of the radar, and then we'll scale back from coverage nonstop since there's not a tornado warning once that happens. And then so that I can get a few hours of rest and get ready for this afternoon heifer that's going to be coming in. Ben Luna will be coming in to drive things with Chase Wilson here. And we're going to get ready for the afternoon. If there are any further tornado warnings after we go away from this, Ben and Chase will handle those for the next couple of hours. And then once that happens, you'll see me later today. I'll be here and I'll lead the coverage with the guys. We'll have the entire team here. But there's a lot of prep work that goes into these big tornado days like this. And so there have been some sleepless nights working on graphics, working on forecast analysis, and coordinating with other meteorologists, and just the prep work to get ready for today so that everything flies as smoothly as it can this afternoon. So Fred's going to get some rest here in a little bit while the other guys fly, and then we'll have Taylor in this morning. We'll have Kelly in this morning. Sam will be running production behind the scenes. We'll have the full team. Now, while we're here, let's go to Links 1 for just a minute, because we're about to step out of a tornado warning here in just a minute. So let me catch you up to speed if you're just tuning in on what's happening later today. We have this threat immediately now, between now and the late morning, that's prompted a tornado watch for the entire area until 10 a.m. That's not the main deal. When that settles down in a few hours, the threat is not over by any remote stretch of the imagination. Hear me when I look you in the white of your eyes and I tell you that when this settles down with round 1 in a few hours, it's not over. It hasn't even begun. This afternoon, from noon to 10 p.m., there is an upper end level, and that's probably the beat for the severe thunderstorm warning.
That's right.
There will be an upper end tornado outbreak threat across our area. I haven't done it to match the SPC yet, but at 1 a.m., they stretched the level 4 out of 5 risk, which includes the risk for EF3 to EF5 tornado potential. They took that the rest of the way through Lewis County, the rest of the way through Murray County, the rest of the way through Marshall County, the rest of the way through Hardin County. That's now all the way up to the Spring Hill area. They also expanded that level 5 high risk that was down there deeper into northwest Alabama. Now, we have our violent tornado threat a little farther north in the northwest Alabama than that high risk is that's been out from Storm Prediction Center. That's because we were getting ahead of the thing. They're trending toward what we already have on the map. So I think by later this morning, their high risk will look like what we have for the violent tornado threat. Regardless, it doesn't matter if you're in a level 3, level 4, level 5. There is a threat, high-end tornado threat this afternoon of violent long track tornadoes, upper end type tornadoes. The EF3s, the EF4s, something stronger than that. And there may be more than one that's strong across all of North Alabama, Northeast Mississippi, and now it's extended up into all of our southern Tennessee counties. If you're in the red or the purple, and now here all the way up through Lewis, Murray, and Marshall and Hardin, it will include you too this afternoon from noon to 10 p.m. is that time window. I can't give you a small window because this is not a situation where it's one little line of thunderstorms comes through in 2 hours and then it's over for the day. There will be multiple rounds of those individual supercell thunderstorms this afternoon that will be off by themselves. They'll have the intense rotation. They will be there for hours once they get going. And these are the type of tornadoes that can get down on the ground, stay down on the ground nonstop for 20, 30, 40 miles or longer in track distance, and they could be the big ones that are a quarter mile wide, a half mile wide, a mile wide. That's the type of tornado threat this is this afternoon, in addition to 65 to 80 mile per hour winds and golf ball size hail. Here's how the threats break down. Violent long track tornadoes today. This is a high risk situation. In our state, we usually don't see at most in an active season in our area more than 1 or 2 high risk days each year. Today is one of them. The threat timing is noon to 10 p.m. There's a significant threat of damaging straight line winds of 65 to 80 miles an hour that can knock down trees, knock down power lines, cause power outages. Golf ball size hail is possible with the storms this afternoon, in addition to a significant flooding threat once the storms start trading on each other. Some isolated areas could see anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rain. So that's the situation for later today. So we'll go back to Viper on Lynx 2, give a final update on the radar DMA wide. Again, severe thunderstorm warning now for all of Franklin County. Tornado warning has been downgraded. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. This does now include Phil Campbell all the way up to Russellville and then the remainder of the county to the east. That does not include Colbert County, does not include Lauderdale County. Then we have this really intense thunderstorm. We can go to HTX and zoom in on eastern Wayne and central areas of Lawrence County. I just want you to be aware that we're tracking it. Storm's not severe in the classic sense, but there is tremendous lightning and thunder with this and maybe some pea to dime size hail. Remember, it has to be quarter size to get a severe thunderstorm warning. Winds have to be 58 miles per hour or stronger to get a severe thunderstorm warning. That's lifting up from Loretto right up into Lawrenceburg and Deerfield now. It's going to be moving through Etheridge soon, through Summertown soon. This one will probably keep going quickly all the way over into Giles County, Murray County, and Marshall County over the next hour. I'm not seeing organization with this to think it's going to be a tornado threat anytime soon, but we do have a tornado watch until 10 a.m. We can show that by showing the watch warning map here, and then we'll scale back away from coverage since we don't have any active tornado warnings. In our viewing area, the entire viewing area, Middle Tennessee and North Alabama, now under a tornado watch until 10 a.m. There will be additional tornado watches later this afternoon for the main event, and those tornado watches will be something special. They will be what's called a PDS watch, or particularly dangerous situation. That is heightened wording when there's that higher level threat of long track violent tornadoes. We don't quite have that level of threat this morning, so it's a standard tornado watch, which is important enough, but the threat later this afternoon is a lot more serious, and I want you to understand that so that you take it seriously. Severe thunderstorm warning for all of Franklin County in Alabama, and that is going to go until 4:15 this morning. It's the entire county. Franklin County, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado warning is no longer in effect for Franklin County. So that's the situation there. We'll continue to watch things. Again, Ben Luna will be in here soon. Chase Wilson will continue to watch things. And then I'll be back for the main round today. We'll have Kelly Rawson in here. We'll have Taylor Plott in here. We'll have Sam Camp in here. The entire team will be here today. But Ben and Chase will have you covered with any additional warnings this morning. For Chase Wilson, I'm Fred Gossage, live from the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. Stay with Tennessee Valley Weather. We'll keep you advised.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.